just want to welcome everybody to our second show of Inside the Cardinal Playbook. I also want to remind you it's available on the website. It'll be on Wednesday at geocardinals.com, so please try to get in on that because I know it'll be great for the kids to be able to see some of the stuff that they've done from week to week. Again, I'm really all smiles. I didn't have the opportunity to be there, unfortunately, because I had another major commitment. But, Coach, I talked to you before the ball game and then today before the show started. Congratulations.
Hey,
Maybe we're going to shake your hand. That
Appreciate
first one under the belt's always good.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about some of
good.
the high points of that ball game?
Yeah, it was good. The first half there was, you're talking about high points. Boy, I was nervous in the first half. I was nervous before the game when I talked to their head coach, and he said, Coach, the only reason why we scheduled this game was because we were 7-3 last year and had 28 returning seniors. And at that point, I'm going, oh, boy, this coach thinks they feel pretty good, and they've got a lot of guys returning.
Sure.
And you never know going into it how you're going to play. And for us, having as many new guys as we do, especially on the defensive side of the ball,
right.
There was some question marks there of how all that was going to come together. And felt like offensively we returned some guys, but, sprinkled in a few new guys there. And it took us a little while to get started. We came out and had way too many turnovers in the first half, really throughout the game, but more in the first half. Predominantly, we didn't take care of the ball very well. Sean played a very good game except for his turnovers, and he'll be the first one to say, he was very keyed up for the game. He is such a competitor. We joke with him all the time that we need to turn him into a starter instead of a closer.
Right.
A little baseball terminology.
We
he comes out
that.
throwing 95-mile-an-hour fastballs and floating them a little bit, but. He settled into himself and then played a very good game after the first half. And, defensively, I thought I was very proud of them on some adversity situations, off some turnovers. They didn't give up a touchdown the whole game. They gave up 2 field goals early. Some were based on field position, but, they played very well. You look at the game and, 3 field goals and you come in the next day and grade it. And you realize all of the mistakes that you made, in every phase. But defensively, we made just as many mistakes as we did offensively, just weren't quite as glaring. And our special teams were very good in the kickoff coverage. I think we held them to like 12 to 14 yards of return. Average return on kickoff return is about 18 to 20. So felt really good there. Our punts were good. Our punt average was good. Daniel Megan did a nice job. Our protection was solid. We feel like we need to do some better things in the kickoff return game. To get it back to where we were last year, where we were, top 15 in the country in kickoff return.
You made some hay there.
Yeah, we did, and kick placement, some other things, and just some timing early. Kickoff return is such a timing snap that, if all those components aren't exactly timed out correctly, it's hard to have great returns there. So we thought we did some really good things in the special team side of things. Defense played solid. Offense played really well at times. We just turned the ball over way too much. And, going into it, that's a good football team. 7-3 with 28 returning starters, that's a good football team. But, we feel if we don't make some of the mistakes we made that we should win that game bigger. Their coach is saying the same thing today. Every coach after the game, you can break it down. This game isn't rocket science, or I could never coach it.
I know.
Yeah, well, exactly. We've both been there, and it just comes down to execution and whoever executes the most. And, at the end of the day, that maybe has the most athleticism and plays the hardest is the team that's going to win. And
don't you think? I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you're sitting here talking about that. You're talking about your special teams and defense, and those are the things that I always were partial to as a coach, and that really we kind of have the same background on that part. But don't you think being here, this is your second year, that the kids that are here can provide leadership, even though you've got a young team, for your system? They understand. I look at you now. This is a compliment from last year. Your system is in, and they understand it.
Right.
And you lost a lot of kids on defense, which we both, like I said, are partial to.
Yep.
And yet they still understand the system. That's when you start growing the program.
Right. You're exactly right, and you've done this, and so you understand it a little bit more in depth than some others. But a credit to the how hard we played on Saturday. We played extremely hard in all phases. Right. That was never an issue. They laid their guts out there the whole game. It was execution, but our leadership, and just as you said, a year ago it was trying to change the culture and create our culture of how we want it. Now we've got the culture change, and our older guys, at least the guys that have been here, have helped our younger guys understand what it means to play in the culture that needs to be adhered to here. And it's made it a lot easier in that sense, which is a good thing, because going in to this year with the transitional year and playing a lot tougher schedule, we better have that, or we're going to get ourselves in some very difficult situations.
Well, absolutely, and you're in a situation. I think one reason why we're doing this program is to educate and, of course, recognize the kids on your team. That's the most important thing. But I think it's also important that we try to make everybody understand what you're trying to do as far as building the program. We're going from an NAIA school to Division II school, and it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of hard work and time. There's going to be ups and downs. But, I'm glad to hear that you feel like, and I would think that those are two areas that, probably you should be pretty confident in, that everybody knows. You got the coaching staff back.
And that's a big part of it, as you know.
Yeah, it really is. Talk a little bit about your running game, how you felt. I always felt like if we could move the chains a little bit in a couple of games the last 4 or 5 years that I've done it, that we probably could have won the ball game if we could move the chains a little bit, because you've always played good. We've already talked about the defense a little bit, and especially teams.
You're exactly right. Now, our run game was big for us the other night. We've got a couple guys back there. Really, we had 4 guys that carried the ball the other night, and Chris Stewart had a very good game for us. He had a run in the second half that you thought he was tackled 4 or 5 times, and I think it was about a 30, 40-yard run.
He looks a lot stronger this year.
He's strong, and he's physical, and the guy's hard to tackle.
Yeah.
He had 2 touchdowns, and then Glenn Whitney, who was the freshman that we started at tailback. See, Chris plays fullback and tailback for us, so Chris played a lot of snaps the other day. Also returns punt for us, just because he's a guy that's hard to tackle and is going to go get you those positive yards every play. Glenn Whitney had a good game. The negative on those 2 is they both put the ball on the ground once, and our running backs coach is on them. Trent Figg's on them all the time about ball security, and they both knew it. And but a credit to them, they bounced back and both had very good games after that. Glenn had a couple of runs that you think he should have been down 2 or 3 different times and ran through arm tackles and those type of things. We were able to get a transfer we had a semester last year in Phil Ankar, who's a little bit different type of back. He's the scat guy that can make that out, make that quick cut at the line of scrimmage and get outside in a hurry. And Andrew Edwards did some really good things out of the backfield on some screen game. And so we feel like we've got 4 guys right there that all give us just a little bit different look. And, the testament a lot of times to your run game, is your third down efficiency. And we were 50% on third down, which is really good. Our defensive goal is to be 70% efficient on fourth down or on third down. That means offenses are only 30% efficient. So to say offensively you're 50% efficient on third down, that means you're converting plays.
Very, very
good.
And
so our run game was a big part of that. Going further into our passing game, with the ability of our quarterback, the physical ability he has and the mental ability to read coverages and distribute the ball, Sean did a very good job the other night of moving the ball around. I want to say there was 7 different guys that caught passes. Now that's off the top of my head, it might have been 6, but I'm pretty sure it might have been 7, even 8 guys that he moved the ball around to. There wasn't just one specific guy that he was going to, and that tells me that he's seeing the field and that he's not just looking for one guy in the passing game, but he's reading protection, or he's reading coverage and understands his progression and knows where to go with the ball on different play call situations. The only frustrating thing there was, and I'm not throwing him under the bus, he'd tell you the same thing if he was sitting here. He wishes he had 3 or 4 throws back. The 3 interceptions were tough on him, and a couple of them 3-step early when he just threw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball and the ball just starts to rise. It's kind of like you see on a baseball.
You're alluding to the starter and the closer, but it's not unusual again to the fans for a first ball game, and a guy like him that had a good first year. And everybody knows that he's going to be one of the catalysts to get us to take step 1, step 2, step 3. Not to feel that. Once he feels comfortable that, he is the weight of the world's not on his shoulders, I think he'll respond well. And it sounds to me like he settled down a little bit. And, talk about, I thought last year the big difference was he was pressured a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, we saw, I was at your scrimmage. I know they're bigger. Why don't you talk a little bit from tackle to tackle how you felt, how they played?
You know what? We did a whole lot better job of keeping him upright. I don't think if I recall correctly, I don't think we gave up a sack, and he was in very good situations. And a lot of times he's standing back there, the clock in his head's going off, and he's still not being pressured.
Right.
But, that's a tribute to, a little bit last year, us having to play some young guys up front and, kind of taking our lumps there. And he took some lumps too. One of the interesting things that we do in the passing game is our quarterback sets the protection.
Right.
So it's on him. And if he calls the protection wrong, sometimes
He's
it's his own fault that he,
Yeah.
it's kind of a quick reminder that, hey, I better get that fixed. But he's doing a lot better job of understanding that and setting protections. And then up front, Mark Wable's done a tremendous job with the offensive line, over the last year and a half of technique and them understanding, our scheme and kicking and posting in the passing game and exactly what the protections are and where their help is and, working with guys on twists and all that stuff. And we've come a long way there. Like I said, we started freshmen and sophomore last year. This year they're sophomores and juniors. The nice thing is that we can sit here maybe a year from now and talk about them being juniors and seniors, and
Right.
and hopefully that progression still continues, which it will, and we just continue to keep getting better there. But those guys up front did a very nice job. We're always going to grade them hard up front, as you do with all your players, because you strive for perfection, and we're far from perfection, but we've improved in a lot lot of ways up front.
Did you pretty much just play 5, or did you play a couple other kids?
We played 5 the majority of the game, and then our second group, we had the opportunity to get them in the fourth quarter a little bit, and those guys played tremendously well. We had some perfect grades almost on the offensive line from some young guys that came in and played, and so that's very positive for the future and for our depth going forward.
Well, let's talk about, we finish up here on the offense a little bit, and I know you talked about your receivers and your tight end. I know you had some kids to move over to play tight end, and we're going to throw in, of course, your H-back, the way your scheme is, which I don't give anything up on the show. Why don't you talk about those guys?
The receivers did a great job. Phil Freeman, John Moles, and Ethan Cunningham, our older guys that were kind of returners for us.
Been in the program.
They've been in the program. I will say that our ability there is very good right now. Our physical ability, our effort the other night was tremendous. And none of those guys, I think, had over 2 catches. But after the game, those were the most excited guys on our team because they knew they blocked very well. And in our scheme, that's so important to be able to do that. That's 50% of our snaps is run plays.
Yeah,
So we're not giving anybody else those grades off. So
particularly in your scheme.
Yep.
I tell everybody, you use the tight end, you trade, which we'll get into as the shows go on. And we'll talk about formations.
Exactly.
I'm looking forward to people being able to watch the game as well as listen to it. But we could probably explain it as the year goes on a little bit better. I know you had some changes at tight end too. You want to talk about, and some guys that got healthy that can play this year.
Yeah, we got Josh Capron back from a knee surgery. He played a lot for us the other night. Shane Gibson's bounced around from fullback to H-back to tight end. He gave us some good reps, and so we're excited about those guys. But 2 other guys that are coming off of injuries are Jordan Williamson, who was beat up a little bit during camp and a little bit in the spring, and finally getting him healthy. We got a chance to get him worked in there, and very excited about his athleticism going forward. And then a guy that all of us know about that played on the defensive side of us for us 2 years ago, that really got a chance to, on some snaps, check out that shoulder is Andrew Buffa. The other night that we moved over from outside linebacker to tight end. A great frame, 6'5".
He's a good high school player because he played Blue Springs.
He's a really good football player. We were cautious with him. I didn't tell him this before the game. I told him after that we were cautious with him going into it because, I wasn't quite sure about that shoulder either, and he wasn't. And we all felt good about it. We've been cleared and all those things, but you got to get in a little bit of contact to mentally get over it. And he did. Played a lot of snaps on special teams, and then we got him in on some offensive snaps too, and we're looking forward to being able to develop him even further, as we all feel, good about his health now, of getting him in the action and being able to use that big, 6'5", 255-pound, 260-pound frame that can run and catch. And he was a wide receiver at Emporia State, so he can do good ball skills and all that stuff. So we're excited about some of those guys that maybe didn't get a lot of reps the other day too, of getting them, some more action as we go forward.
Okay, pretty much the offense. I think we pretty much covered it. We'll move to the defense. And my worry and your worry, although you weren't as worried as I was because I was the linebacker coach, is how do the guys play this front seven? Let's talk about the front seven, because in your scheme, it's a front seven.
Right.
I mean, the way you move people around. So we're the down defensive linemen and the linebackers probably all year long. We'll call them the front seven and we'll talk about them.
Right.
Give me a little rundown of how you felt.
Here, and we talked about this before too, and maybe in last week's show, that our defense was a little bit of a question mark going into this game because we were replacing 7 starters, and so I wasn't sure what we were going to get out of them. I thought I knew. You think you feel pretty good,
right,
but you're playing some new guys in some spots and some young guys in some depth, and just not knowing how they're going to react. I would tell you I am extremely proud of our defense and the way they played the other night. They're not dynamic. We don't have a lot of dynamic players on the defensive side of the ball, but boy, they understand the scheme, and they play extremely hard and ran to the football extremely well. And I'm giving them praise here. I'll be the first one that next week we don't get that same effort. I'll be all over them, and they know that.
I find that hard to believe.
Yeah. So, but we've come a long way there in a short time throughout training camp in the spring, and I was very proud. We talk a lot about adversity situations. Adversity situations are, a quick 3 and out, or backed up, or a quick turnover. How do you react in adversity situations? That's one of our goals, that we don't give up a touchdown on adversity situations. And we had 5 adversity situations the other night, didn't give up 1 touchdown. 2 times the ball was inside the 30-yard line, and 1 time we gave up a field goal, and the other time we got off the field without a score. So, those things are measuring sticks for me about how much effort we're getting and how much pride they're taking, how much effort they're giving snap to snap. If we can get it out of them in those snaps, and the team we play is a good football team. I would say offensively they were better defensively than they were offensively, and I think their coaches would tell you that. With not having graduated their 3 quarterbacks from last year and having to try and bring a guy in a week and a half or 2 guys and try and find out who your starter is, that's a difficult thing to do. But they had a tailback that was a really good football player, probably their best offensive player. Besides, they had a really good wide receiver as well. But they struggled in the passing game because of, I think, some timing things and not being in camp very long. And so we were able to capitalize on some of those things defensively. And then, the other thing that we preach besides the adversity situations, that's a big thing for us, is takeaways. And we were able to come out on the good side, defensively with 5 takeaways.
Right.
We scooped and scored one of them for a 41-yard touchdown.
Scooping and scoring is a real good
Which
thing.
was huge, and that was a freshman. But we teach them in practice how to score on defense. We literally do a drill that teaches them, if it's an interception down the field, make sure you block the intended receiver, because 90% of the time he's the one that makes the play. So you'll watch our guys on interceptions down the field. They're headhunting the intended receiver. On fumble recoveries, finding the area of the field that we're going to return it to every single time, and everybody knows where that lane is, and making sure we're getting bodies on bodies to allow ourselves the opportunity to score. And it was good to get one of those in the first game.
Last year you rotated, and I think this is pretty common at all levels, even in high school. Doing the game last Friday night, Rockhurst and Blue Springs, rotating your defensive lineman. Last year, you had you played about 6 kids a lot up front. You're planning on going that way again?
We did the same thing the other night.
So hot early.
Yeah, and if you're giving ultimate effort on the defensive line, you can't play the whole game. You can't. There's not a player I've seen at any level that can give ultimate effort every single play and play the whole game. So we have those guys on a really good rotation. We played 7 guys on the defensive line the other night in a very good rotation. Larry Chapman, Larry, and you've met Larry. Larry's been around the game for a long time, and was an all-conference player here in the early to mid 70s, and was a high school head coach a lot of different places. He just gets it.
He knows how it works.
Exactly. He knows how it works, and he has a very good gauge on the rotation. And those guys, they play their guts out for him, and he did a very good job of rotating those guys the other night to keep them fresh. Because, like I said, if you're going to play as hard as you need to play up front, you just can't. You've got to be at least 2 deep. And we did a really good job of rotating those guys. And it wasn't really their game. We asked them to do some specific things and staying in gaps, and You know, they weren't going to throw
do
down
that a lot.
Exactly. They're not going to throw down the ball down the field a lot, so there wasn't a lot of opportunities to be on the quarterback, although we hit the quarterback several times and had a sack and some different things. And I thought we played very well up front. You know, just like any other position, though, we're not perfect there yet. And we got a lot of things that we can work on this week from a technique standpoint, from a gap responsibility standpoint, to make us better as we move forward into, you know, as our schedule continues to get difficult.
You know, it sounds like defensively you've got a plan that you've had when you were defensive coordinator. You're staying with it and it's paying off. Now let's look at the secondary a little bit. And I know you were kind of you were I know felt very good about your secondary going.
Yeah, you know, we returned a couple guys back there. Kurt Webster at our strong safety position, who's, you know, a Shawnee Mission West kid.
Tough kid.
Good football school that he came from.
Good skills.
And Kurt knows he's not a dynamic player. He's not going to go out and run 4-4 every day and all that stuff, but he is a football player.
Yes, he is.
He understands the game, understands
gets in the seams,
run game, pass game.
Well.
Yeah, he's just a good football player. And I'm on him all the time, and he knows it, but I really, really like him. And then we returned Owen Hodges at the corner position. Owen's kind of a safety corner type. He can play a lot of different positions. He's also our nickel. But, you know, he did some really good things, had some nice pass breakups the other night. And then Jeff Cunningham, who was a backup free safety for us last year, played at free. And then Jack Bissonette, who was a backup corner for us that played a lot for us last year, was our other starting corner. And those guys did a nice job. We always look at production, you know, and some of those positions we need to get some more production out of than we did the other night. And like I said, I'm not telling any secrets here. I told our team the same thing yesterday. And then we had some young guys come in at the safety positions. Both of our safeties cramped up. It was hot early, and because of the turnovers, we played a lot of snaps.
Game, everybody going.
We played a lot of defensive snaps in the first quarter, in the first half, really. And so we had I think 6 guys cramp up, and they were all defensive guys later in the game. But so that gave us an opportunity to play some young guys at the safety positions and the corner positions. We played Thomas Swoboda, a kid out of St. Louis, Lafayette High School over there, who had a very good game at strong true freshman. Very good game at strong safety. You know, when Kurt came out and was very productive there, had a fumble recovery, scoop and scored for a touchdown, was very productive in the run game and tackling. And then Caleb Sims, who was a freshman out of Park Hill South, that was a really good tailback for them.
I remember that.
Actually started at Rockhurst High School as a sophomore at corner. So he's played in the secondary. We moved him to free safety, and he's done a tremendous job there. Also had a big game on special teams. Was all over the place. He did some really good things for us. Some young corners came in and did a nice job. Thomas Clanton, a kid out of San Diego, is a true freshman. Did some good things there. Jamal Jones, a freshman corner out of Rockhurst High School. And then Quinlan Reiser, a kid that we recruited. His twin brother plays receiver for us, who's a true freshman out of Colorado Springs. All 3 of those guys got in, you know, at corner, and then Colby Fowler, a kid that was a returning kid for us. And
a lot of guys did.
So we were able to play some guys out there and got some good reps, you know, and kind of, you know, got them going a little bit and saw some things from them that are really exciting for young kids. And then, you know, the linebacker group, you know, kind of finishing out the defense. Nelson Windebank, who's our returning linebacker there, who was our will linebacker last year, who we moved to Mike.
He did a great job.
Exactly. He was a quarterback. He's a quarterback for our defense. He was everywhere. He played a great game. He was all over the place. He was calling plays. He was changing plays.
Knows the
system. He was doing a great job for us out there. I'm very excited about, you know, what we're getting out of him right now. And then it was really, really good to see Nathan Valentine back out there. You know, 2 years ago he was our starter at will, and then last year had an unfortunate ACL injury in our very first helmeted practice of training camp, and you know, had ACL surgery and all that, and decided to come back for his 5th year, and you know, he had a very good game as well. And then Tyler Owen played our sandbacker position, who we moved from inside to outside. Jason Carmichael was very productive for us at the weak side outside linebacker position. And then we had an opportunity to play some young guys at the linebacker positions as well, you know, in the middle and both on the outsides, and those guys did a nice job. It was good to see those guys get out there and be able to showcase themselves a little bit. Derek Faulkner came in, who's a senior for us as well at the
we played a lot of kids, didn't
yeah, we played a lot of kids,
we
and
really did.
You know, some of it was because of injuries. You know, Carmichael cramped up, and Derek came in a nice job.
Well, early we're going to see that again this week.
Yeah, we're we're hoping that we can spread the snaps out a little bit better early in the game. And we hydrated the heck out of ourselves, but when it's 90 degrees,
and it's supposed to warm up again Thursday and Friday,
and it's it's 110 on the turf, and you're still playing when the sun's out. That first half was very warm. I got dehydrated during the game. It was probably the fourth quarter, me getting after the officials. But
you're so nervous, you're so pumped up. The adrenaline's flowing.
All of those things.
I've stayed there and been 5 minutes in the game. I couldn't talk because my tongue's swollen.
Exactly, and you've been drinking water all day long. Exactly, but no, we felt like we did some good things there. And again, on special teams, Daniel Megan had a tremendous game. We'll talk about him just in a little bit. Warren Freevert, he's very frustrated with himself right now. He's a great kicker for us. Does a great job and hit a few of our extra points. And there's nobody more frustrated than he is. But
he'll be fine.
He'll be just fine. He's a very good player, and
I think he's really going to be a factor.
He is. He's a huge factor for us going forward. And our coverage units were good, and kickoff and punt, and
so our return game needs a little.
Our return game needs a little bit of help, but the return game's always behind the coverage units in the fact that because there's more timing.
Yeah.
There's more timing involved in kickoff return and punt return and some of those things. I thought our punt return, when we were actually on a return and we had a return call instead of a block, we got some nice returns there. But those teams are coming along and we'll be fine.
Well, why don't we lead right into your players of the week, because we got a chance to talk about the total team.
Yep.
That's what the Cardinals are about, a total team. But you do honor everybody. What we'll do at the end of each one of the broadcasts, right before we talk about next week, we'll talk about the kids that probably shined in the ballgame.
Yeah, we've talked about some of these guys already as we've talked about all the different phases of the game. But, we'll do an offensive, defensive, special team player of the week every week. And then we'll talk about work team guys, too, the guys that work against those units during the week, young guys that are doing a really nice job for us, and then our big hit and our play of the week. But starting off with our offensive player of the week, there's a couple guys we could have chose from there that had some very productive games, but we went with Chris Stewart, who's our fullback / tailback / everything. Chris is just one of those guys that's good at a lot of things, and he had a very productive game for us in every position he played. So that's who we went with on the offensive side. Defensively, we went with Nelson Windebank is the thing we talked about earlier in the game that he had. Great leadership and being all over the field and the things we asked him to do and getting guys to help get guys to play hard and all of those things. He was very productive there. Special teams went with Daniel Megan. He had a 38-yard net average, on punt, and we asked him he killed 2 of them inside the 20. Or his average would have been bigger if we weren't putting in and trying to play field position a couple different times. And then, our work team guys that we went with, a young offensive running back that we signed from Olathe South named Nick Sands. Boy, he's pretty special. He's done some really good things for us in practice.
About him, the scrimmage.
You know what? He's not flashy. He's another kid that's just a really good football player, and his future is very bright. And then defensively, we went with Eric Jackson. Eric played some snaps for us on Saturday at our weak side outside linebacker position. An active kid that's just athletic and physical, and plays one speed, and that's 100 miles an hour. Really, really like him. So there's our players of the week there, and then our hit of the week goes to one of those young safeties I was talking about, Caleb Sims, the kid out of Park Hill South. It was a combined effort, really. He had several plays that we could have chose from, and we were physical the other night in all phases. We had a couple guys in the wide receiver positions on the offensive side that we looked at for that award too. Caleb just had a couple more. He had more tackles than some of those other guys. We went with him. He had a cut tackle on our boundary where he flipped the guy over, and it was a heck of a play. So we went with him on that, and then our play of the game, which was voted on by our coaches, and I think our players would have voted for this one as well, was the scoop and score, the 41-yard scoop and score defensive touchdown by Thomas Swoboda.
Kind of hard to beat that, Coach.
Our two safeties, our two freshman safeties were got our play of the game and our hit of the week this week, which is really exciting for our future. And Thomas will be the first one to tell you he doesn't score on that play if Nelson Windebank doesn't make a huge block for him.
Yeah.
Somebody else got the ball out, and we talked to them defensively and special teams about populating the football. Populate the football. The more guys we have around the ball, the more chances we're going to get. Good things are going to happen. they fumbled the ball. Sterling fumbled the ball 5 times the other night. We recovered all 5 of them, and that, the odds of that happening aren't very good. Footballs aren't round; they bounce all different directions.
What you're saying is the seed's starting to grow.
They're starting to figure it out, and so that was very good. We populated the ball well there, and were able to pick up some of those and return that one for a score.
Well, it sounds like you got a good start, and you got a lot of kids in the ball game, and kind of leads us in. Coach enjoys victory. I used to say midnight, but a lot of times, depending on when we were playing the next week, sometimes 5 minutes.
Right.
And we look at Colorado School of Mines coming in. I was thinking about this, though, Coach. It is going to be warm.
It is.
And they've been in Colorado. That might be a little bit to our advantage.
Yeah,
to be very honest with you.
They wanted to play a 1 o'clock game because they're going to fly in on Friday night, and they got to catch a flight after the game. So, realistically, we'd love to play that as an evening game. But trying to work with them in the situation, and them with us next year when we go out there, and we have to work around some travel schedule things. It's important that we do that, and so we're going to play a 1 o'clock afternoon game, and it's going to be the first weekend in September, and it's going to be hot, and that part of it may favor us. I don't know. I peeked at the weather, as I do for different things.
You worry about everything if you coach.
Yeah.
People are not.
But they've had some warm weather out there too. Over August, and they've been in camp for a long time, and they've been preparing for a long time, and they're a really, really good football team. I can't stress enough how tough of an opponent we have this weekend. They were a Division II playoff team from a year ago.
Well, I saw them play Maryville.
Yeah, and
at Northwest.
They're pretty special. They return 9 starters, I believe, on the offensive side, and a bunch on defense as well.
They were big and strong when I saw them.
Big and strong. Boy, they're big up front, and their quarterback's a preseason All-American. They're preseason ranked 22 in the country at the Division II level. So, we're going to get a very good gauge of where we're at the Division II level on Saturday. And we may have a long way to go. We don't know yet. We don't know. We played a really good NAIA school tough, and we were able to do some good things there. But the level of competition is going to go up this Saturday, and it's up to us to make sure we're prepared and make sure we're showcasing the things that we think and exploiting the things that we think we can do on both sides of the ball and in special teams.
In closing here real quick, you look at everything and coming into the ball game, what do you feel like? And like I said, we're not going to give up stuff here in this show. What are you really looking at and anticipating offensively and real quickly defensively from them?
Well, looking at them offensively, because just because of the number of returners over there, I would say is their ultimate strength that we know of from the film we've seen. They're big up front. They're very good in protections in the passing game. Quarterback is a very good player. They got a couple receivers that catch the ball well, and a quarterback that can get it to them. They've got a big physical tailback that does a very good job with what they do. He's very good in protections. When he needs to go get the tough yards, they can hand it to him, and he's a big physical kid that can go get those things. And their tight ends, they graduated the 2 from last year. They'll move those guys around, kind of like our H's. They'll line them up in a wing. Right. They'll line them up at a true tight end every now and then. They'll do some different things with them. Then they've got a fullback that they return that's a shorter kid, but he's big and he's a strong kid and physical. And so we've got our work cut out for us defensively this weekend in trying to slow that group that's been together for a long time down and that has a lot of confidence in what they do. Bob Stitt, who's their head football coach, also has a big part in still, I think, coordinating their offense. And he clinics all over the country on this offense, and it's tremendous. Yeah, it's very, very difficult to defend because they make you play in space, and they get you spread out. And when you got a quarterback like they do that's been as good as he has for as long as he has, he understands and he can see pre-snap where the breakdowns are defensively, and he can take advantage of them. They give him a lot of reins to do a lot of things at the line of scrimmage in their offense, and he does it very well.
Well, I saw him play 3 times in the playoffs in the last probably 7 years against Northwest. I was very impressed, and you're right. They know what they're doing, and they
no doubt about it.
Defensively, you're looking at pretty
defensively.
Group.
Yeah, it's a really good group. They graduated some defensive linemen that were really good players for them last year, but I know they've got some really good ones coming in that were young guys last year, and maybe a few transfers. But they're very good on defense as well. You don't make the division, as you well know. You've been around the Division II game for a long time, and watching Northwest and the MIAA and those things. You don't make the Division II playoffs without a good defense. It just doesn't happen.
Just it's not there.
Yeah, so they're a 3-4 scheme too. They're similar to us on defense. They'll shift into a 4-man front and bring pressures from some different places and rotate their safeties in the run game and I don't see a lot of weaknesses on that football team. And there shouldn't be, for as good as they've been for the last couple of years. Coach Stitz and his staff have done a very good job of bringing in the right type of players to play in their schemes and all the phases and putting those things together and getting a lot of production out of those different areas, and it's paid off for them.
Well, Coach, it's time to go. I mean, here we are. We got to play Division II team because you know why? We're Division II.
That's
it's time to go. I'm looking
right.
forward to it. We want to remind all our fans that it's a 1 o'clock start here at William Jewell on campus. And again, if you can, the website will be available on Wednesday at jewelcardinals.com. Try to hit that if you can. We'll get that up and running. I hopefully become a part of this program. Once again, thank you for the second edition of Inside the Cardinal Playbook. It's been great. It's always good after a win.
It always is. But as you know, the wins only last about 24 hours, if that.
Sometimes 5 minutes.
Got to get on to the next one. You're exactly right.
Well, we'll see you this week. Hopefully, everybody will be at the game.